Hey, this is Andrew. In this video, let's take a look at AlloyDB. So AlloyDB is a fully managed enterprise-grade Postgres instance, which I love Postgres, and if we can use one that is cost-effective, that would be good. Here we have a sandbox-free cluster, a free environment to experience AlloyDB's superior performance. That sounds really nice. Over here, we can see starting $14 a day. Wow, what a great price. If you are not comfortable with these costs, that's totally understandable. You don't have to do that. I'm going to try the free trial. And we'll create new. We'll see what we can actually do in the trial. I'm not sure what limits there are on it. We'll go ahead and do that. And it looks like it's actually spinning up a development cluster. So we'll call this my Alloy. Why not? Or my cluster. We'll call it my cluster. And here we'll generate out a password. I'm going to show it. I'm going to copy it. I'm going to place it in another tab. And I hope I do not lose it. So here we only have up to 16. I think 17's out. So at least at this time. So that's one thing. Over here on the right-hand side, we can see the costs. Again, we're just trying to get this up, make sure we connect to it, and experience a basic database. We're looking here for Toronto, so here we go. And here we have private IP connectivity, enable private IPs, always enable. Public IPs, yes please. And we actually have to add or authorize network, so very similar to Cloud SQL. So let's say, what's my IP? We'll go here. We'll wait just a moment. We're going to grab that IP address here. Give it, yeah, there it is. So we'll grab that, go back over to here. We'll drop this in, and we'll put a /32. We'll scroll on down, and we can see we have N2, 64, whatever. Sounds great. I mean, normally this is probably be really expensive. But again, I don't want to keep it up for very long. So we'll go ahead and start a free trial. And so that's going to spin up, and we're going to wait for that to be provisioned, okay? And while this is provisioning, it's telling us some things we might want to do. So it says create a cloud storage bucket in the project where your Alloy database is located. Upload the SQL file in the storage bucket. Okay, so I mean, we can do that. Click the import data to navigate to the import form. Provide the GCS path to the SQL file. Okay, so yeah, I'm going to go ahead here, and I suppose we can create a new bucket to get prepared here. I thought it'd be a little bit easier than that, but we'll see. So we'll go ahead here, and we'll make our ways over to buckets. And this will just be I still have that migrate bucket. You know what? I'll just use migrate bucket. You can use whatever you want. This is the bucket that I have kicking around here. And I'm going to go ahead and just say, like, I need an import script for AlloyDB. Create me one. Okay, so we'll go over to here. I'm not sure if it'll do a good job here, but prepare the SQL file for the bucket. Let's go see if there's any particulars that we have to consider. And so we have CSV, DMB, and SQL file. I think SQL sounds a bit better. So I'm looking here. Let me just see what we need to do, okay? So it doesn't really tell us much about the format of it, so that's a little bit confusing. I don't really care if we use those import operations, but let's just pretend that we did. Navigate the import data and import with the GCP, create the database. Okay. If we go back to the step, it's up here. So we'll just keep waiting here, and I guess what we can do, I just need SQL. Like, what is it doing here? Okay, you're not listening. Only Postgres. Holy smokes. There we go. No. Only write SQL. We are creating an SQL file with mock data. Okay? I don't know what it's doing here today. There we go. Okay. The only thing I don't know is, like, can we set up tables? And like, it doesn't tell us that, right? There's obviously the import statements. We say, like, AlloyDB, try not to lose that. AlloyDB SQL import example. Like it tells us we should import one, but it doesn't tell us how, which is kind of annoying. A CSV file could work as well. If you're migrating an entire database, etc., before you begin doing so, prevent issues. It doesn't talk about like the table rows or anything like that. So how would it? Yeah, a table already has to exist. So I would think that you'd have to create the table, and then it would just be import statements, right? So let's go back over to here. Is it still creating? It's still creating, right? So there's not a whole lot that we can do until it's ready. I mean, if we can connect to the database this way, I don't see why that even matters, because we can just query there. But we can try the import statement, but we'll see what happens, okay? We're just going to hang tight. All right, so our instance is ready. Let's go over into the AlloyDB Studio, which is just like Spanner Studio or the SQL one, apparently. And we're going to go use Postgres, and we kept that password around. Please, please, please. There it is. Let's not lose that tab. And we'll go ahead and authenticate, okay? So we're going to authenticate. This is just a Postgres database, so I assume Postgres queries are going to work here. And I think that mass import thing is really if you have an SQL file that's really, really, really large, or there's obviously another way to migrate it. We'll go ahead and open up a new SQL tab. I want to create this table, so we'll go all the way to the top here. And I mean, I guess we could just take these here. I don't care. Let's go grab all of this and see if it goes. So we'll go ahead and paste it in here. We'll hit run, and hopefully those tables just create. Excellent. So we have those tables. So this is definitely Postgres. Whereas with Spanner, even when I didn't do it in the video because I had so much trouble in the Postgres compatible mode, but like it couldn't handle timestamps and other things, so it wasn't truly. I might use the Postgres syntax, but we couldn't use all the features of Postgres, which was frustrating. So now we have those tables. We could import the data here, but why not use that import thing? Because they made a big stink about like, hey, you can use it. So if we click on this import, here it wants to be in a bucket. We have SQL, a plain text file with a sequence of SQL commands, like the output of a PG dump. I don't know if this is an output of a PG dump. I mean, probably looks similar, but it's probably just going to run this sequentially, right? So I'm just going to grab all of this here. Not everything, but I'll grab this stuff here. And let's just try to make an SQL file. So I need to just make a file really quickly on my local machine. Okay. I'm just trying to do that off screen here. I'm not sure my clicking is, there we go. My clicking wasn't working. So we have that there. We'll go ahead and save that as a file to my desktop. And then this will just be import.sql. Now that I have that, we'll make our way over to a bucket that I have. So we have this bucket. I'm going to drag on over. Once I open up a file explorer window here, I'm going to drag on over that import SQL here. I'm going to drop it plainly in here. Okay, the question is, will it have access to this bucket? I would hope that it could, but I don't know if we have to do some special permissions here. I do not see, oh, there it is. We'll click into it. And I need to get its GS link here. Here it is. So we'll grab that one. I believe that's what it wants. So we'll go back over to here. I'm trying not to lose this tab here. And, oh, we can just browse. Well, that's even better. Let's do that. Migrate bucket, import. There we go. Select. If this doesn't work, I don't care. But if it does, that's great too. How would it know what table to insert into? I guess it's in there where it says to insert because it's the same table, right? We'll go ahead and run that and see if it works. Again, we don't have to do it this way, but because they have it there, we should try it. So it's finished. Let's just confirm that the data is there. So we'll go over into categories. I guess we just have to search any of it. So we'll say select all from orders. We'll run that. There's our data down below, so definitely inserted. I'm going to assume that there is a, well, if this is a Postgres database, this would just have a address, right? Because I don't think we'd use an SDK to connect with this. So where's the connection information? Connectivity. Okay, so it looks a lot like how we would normally connect with a database. Let's bring up Table Plus. I'm going to delete this one. We don't need that anymore. We'll go ahead and create a new connection in here. We installed this in the Cloud SQL, so didn't watch that one. Go watch that one first about installing Table Plus. And so I want to grab some information here. I'm just going to drag that half off screen so I can click back onto it easily. So what do we need? We need the host. So the host is the public IP address, right? And we'll paste that in. The user, I believe, is Postgres. The database is Postgres. Our password is precariously living on that tab, that new tab there. And I'll go back to here and we'll paste in our password. I think that's everything. And this will be like AlloyDB. I'm going to test. Unknown driver error. Let's make sure we put in a port here. Test again. Unknown driver error. This does not look right. Let's do that. Test that again. Connection's okay. We'll save it. Let's go here. Make sure that we can see stuff. We got lots of stuff. We go here. Our data. So we have our data. There we go. Great. So yeah, not too hard. Actually, I really like that. That was not too bad. So let's go ahead and get rid of this really, really expensive cluster. But you know, if you're an enterprise and you like Postgres and you just want it to work, I could see why they made this, because Spanner, I'm sure, is good, but if you really like Postgres at scale, then this is even better, right? So now it's deleting the cluster, and we'll just wait for that to go. There's probably more things we could do with AlloyDB, but that's a simple introduction. So there you go.